Hello everybody. Today we got a fun one. This is a set of chaps that a customer sent in. They are her father's, and she requested that I make a bag for her. She picked one of the designs that I posted on Instagram. I made her a custom pattern in the size that she kind of wanted. And we're going to cut into this and make this in a video. There's a lot of little hardware pieces that I'm going to try to reuse. These don't look particularly old, but there's a lot of good hardware in here. And the leather itself is nice and thick, about 8 ounces. So I don't think we'll probably do edge banding or anything like that. Not quite in the budget. She wants something just simple and minimal. So let's get into it. Let's start cutting them up. We have a ton of material here, so it'll be really easy to get this a really nice looking bag that she can keep using for a long time. So it looks like we should be able to lay out all 3 of our pattern pieces on one leg of the chaps, which is good because we're going to make a wallet out of the other side. The nice thing about these chaps is that it's not like a bag where you have limited material. I mean, you know, you don't have unlimited material, but definitely have close to a full hide of usable leather on this one. Just gonna trim around all of these hardware pieces and then I'll do my detailed cuts. This is going to be the front pocket, so we got to do a little bit of skiving because we'll have a gusset here. And since this is a partially flipped design, meaning we sew it on the inside out and then we flip it right side too, we want this to be sort of thin so that it lays nice. So we have to stitch this on first. She sent in, this is one of her dad's patches. We're going to sew this to the inside like this, and then I'm also going to let this sort of inform the colors for the rest of the bag. We'll do a nice black edge and then yellow stitching like Dooney and Burke and Louis Vuitton. I think it'll look really classy. Okay, so I did a bunch of stuff that you guys have seen a million times off screen. I did a little French seam here, backed it with some goat skin. If you want to, this is going to be the gusset, and if you want to learn how to make a French seam gusset, there's a full video. I'll try to remember to put it right here. You can click on that. Otherwise, since we're using like a 7-ounce chrome tan leather with no lining, I wanted to add a little bit of rigidity, and this will do that. So the next step is I'm going to punch from the center out on this side and out on this side, and then from the center out. And then I'll start sewing like this so that our seam is right in the center of the bag. Now I also sewed on her dad's airborne patch, and then this is going to be the back pocket. And I just kind of stitched along the side there. So let's get to punching this. So instead of starting at the top and punching down, since I want there to be a center hole in both pieces, I'm going to actually start by punching right in the center, and then I'll go out on each side. And that way, we know we'll have a stitch line or a stitch hole in the center of our gusset to match with the stitch hole in the center of the face of the bag. Next, I have my center marked right here, so I'm going to put one of the tines of my stitching chisel right on that center mark. And now I can punch from the inside out on both sides, and that will very unscientifically guarantee that our French seam ends up right in the center of this piece. Okay, to sew this, you see I started matching our center holes here that we punched, and now I'm just working my way around. I don't use any glue on seams like this, just lets things shift over time. I'm just going to use an alligator clip to hold the two together, and kind of slowly but surely sew my way around the outside. And here we go. So what I did was I always stain and burnish the inside seams. We're going to go ahead and flip this a little half flip here. And now, since we're a little floppy, I'm going to add a little liner here, probably just a 3/4 of an inch strip. I'm going to glue it across the whole thing and then stitch across the top here. and that'll get us a little more structure when this bag is closed. I'm going to use a strip of goat skin. I don't want to use this same leather because it's way too thick. And this will be just enough structure to make sure that the bag stays the way that we want it when we're putting the whole thing together. And one of the nice things about this is I like to use a single piece going over this seam. And that, in my experience, that actually is one of the ways that it adds a lot of structure by bridging this seam with a solid piece on the other side. We're starting to look like a bag here. So we have top stitched, partial liner in. This is feeling really good. Next step, we need to add some hardware and our D-rings. Now, there is some hardware on the chaps themselves. I'm gonna stray a little bit and use some antique brass hardware. I think it'll look much better with this color scheme now that it's in the process of being made. The other thing is I'm going to, I think I want to match this goat skin and glue in a liner to what will be the flap. So I have here, I had this die made, and it's for my D-ring attachments. It's a nice shape that I always use. It saves so much time that I can just punch it out. So I'm going to use some of the extra length of our gusset here. And there we go. And so we're starting to see everything assemble here. We got all of our pieces put together. Here is the front of the bag, the main pocket assembly. We have our D-rings. I went with I like these a lot. The buckle guy sells. Patches there still. And this is the back pocket, so it's gonna go there. Then I like this kind of upscale. This is some French goat skin that we're going to pair with the heavy oil tan leather of the chaps. So it's time to attach the body of the bag to the back of the bag. And on the back, I have my pocket glued on as well. So you've probably seen me do this a couple times before. I have a bunch of alligator clips right here. I have the top and the center of my pocket marked out. So the first thing I'm going to do, I want this seam to line up nice and centered. So I'm going to use my mark for that. And if you're making your own patterns for this, for something like this, it helps to put the center on your pattern. It's a lot harder when you have like weird shapes to find the center on the piece itself. So I'm going to do the bottom first, and I'm going to add a few clips. And these clips aren't setting the glue, they're just holding everything in place so that I can kind of maneuver it without everything pulling off. Next, I like to go and glue the top because I want this to line up with the pocket here. Then I'm going to work my way down, and again I'll add clips as I go. And then just do the corner. Now everyone glues their corners a little differently. This part's a lot of muscle memory. You gotta kind of find a way that works best for you. I tend to push in and then push the back forward to kind of pop that out like that. And then I'll go around and stick it down. Then we just do the same thing for the other side, and we're good to go. My caliper's set to my stitch line here. Go around, mark that stitch line, and then we will punch and sew. Might need to change a little bit from your normal distance because we want to match up with a lot of little details around the outside of this bag. For example, I have a hole here. That's going to be for a through rivet going to the other side of the bag. The stitch holes for our French seam, we want those to match up right on our stitch line here, and you can see we got that perfect. Again, on the other side, we have another rivet hole. So I have my calipers set to this distance instead of the calipers that I used for this distance. And here we go. So we have bag, really nice, thick chrome tan leather. I did the pocket here, so there's a full pocket in the back. And then if we open it up, nice magnetic snap from Buckle Guy. This is the black goatskin liner, and then it's a partial liner in here, and that matches her father's airborne patch. So, you know, this project, it's funny, some projects hit you a little bit different, and when you're making custom stuff out of just brand new leather, that's about craft, right? But then doing something like this, a lot of the times I'll get bags and old pieces to make new things out of. It really kind of puts things into perspective as far as like the power of the craft itself. And this is any craft really, but you know, we have the ability to take something that someone might look at hanging on a hook, and we can turn it into something that not only reminds them of a loved one or whatever, a time or a place, but it allows them to continue making memories with that piece, right? So that's really, I just feel very fortunate to be able to have that skill, you know, and to be able to do that for a living. That's gonna be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.